Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
I will tell you guys, I caught me a baby raccoon last night.
Oh,
yep. I got a trap. And I was ready. So I heard the trap slam shut because my neighbor let me borrow a trap, and I ran outdoors. And there was a mama raccoon and like 5 babies running away. And I was like, here's this baby raccoon. I'm going to take him out and put him out in the forest. But then I got real sad because all his like brothers and sisters were running up a tree. And I swear to God, he put his hand over his face in a very sad way. And I was like, this is how Groot and Rocket probably would have got together. Maybe I'll have a new friend. And I opened it up, and he ran up the tree. But I left it. I set the trap again. I'm hoping that it'll traumatize them enough that they'll start going to someone else's house.
I don't want to separate the raccoon family. I just want to give them long-term trauma.
Yeah.
What I hear you saying is we might have a mid-episode update on the raccoon situation.
There might be, yeah, because they've started appearing earlier and earlier every night. Well, they're starting to leave weird messages in little symbols on the wall in blood.
Ley lines.
Yeah, ley lines, circles.
Pentagrams.
Yeah. Kind of like Zodiac code cipher type stuff. And I spent a long time translating it. It just said, leave the trash unopened if you want to live.
That's right. How quickly did you name the baby raccoon?
I'm going through, I've been naming them for a while, and they just all get the characters' names from the Fast and the Furious films. But I don't know any of the characters' names. I just know the actors' names. So there's Ludacris, there's Vin, there's Dead Paul Walker. And Dead Paul Walker was actually the dead raccoon that got hit by a car recently. So then I had to name one alive Paul Walker. And
was Dead Paul Walker ever featured in the movies, or was it?
Oh yeah, I believe there's a scene of Dead Paul Walker driving away in a ghost car.
Wow,
to heaven.
Those movies just got dumber.
He says as he's driving away, I live my life one celestial quarter mile at a time. Dwayne the Raccoon Johnson. That's it. I've been calling him Dwayne the Rockcoon Johnson. All right, I'm ready for any news you can throw at me.
Oh, is that what is this a news program?
Mm-hmm. This is one of the premier international.
Welcome to the international. Oh shit!
There
we just lost Mark.
There we go.
Classic
Go.
fucking Mark.
Hold on.
Yep.
Gotta wait for Mark to come
interested
back.
in this anymore.
Sweet Christ.
Mm-hmm. Prima donna.
Mark says his power went out. It sounded like a transformer blew, and he doubts he'll be back soon.
Well, that's is Transformer Blue. That's the fanfic I have about Optimus Prime and Starscream. Hey.
Now that we dumped Mark Ryan, let's get this show started. Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I am Brian Camp.
And I'm Mike Wiebe. And guess who we've got as our guest?
Is it Mark Ryan?
No, it's not Mark Ryan. Mark Ryan has forsaken us, leaving us left us to our own devices. He was on, and then he said that a transformer blew, and then I hilariously said, just like the fan fiction. You remember from before. We've got the true Aquaman. He's more cut than Jason Momoa.
Mm-hmm.
He's has more of an entourage than Vinny Chase when he played Aquaman. Ben Johnson, everyone. The oft mentioned Ben Johnson is with us to fill in. This is an all Alqua episode.
So I think, it's important to point out Ben here is the host of or co-host rather, of the Reef Beef podcast.
Yes.
Where they, why don't you tell us about it, Ben?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Ben?
So I've been in the aquarium industry since the mid 90s. And so Reef Beef is a podcast with me and another guy where we kind of irreverently discuss aquarium stuff and cuss and say silly things too.
Do you guys, now is it a beef in that you argue about aquarium stuff? Is there a lot of antagonism? Is there anger?
Yeah, we sometimes set up arguments where we're like pro and con, but sometimes the whole thing is sort of, we have no reason to try to say what a sponsor wants us to say. And so it's kind of punk rock and we just say whatever we want to. We've both been in the industry for a long time, so we just say what we think about certain products.
Let me ask you, how respected and renowned is your show in Ireland?
Oh, I know it's above y'all's.
What?
That wouldn't be surprising at all.
Actually.
Okay, I'm going to cancel this guest.
No, we need to get that crossover Irish Reef versus kind of stupid Irish fan base.
That's right. I have a question. I was going to ask if where do you stand on gouramis versus angelfish?
Well, gouramis being a labyrinth fish and having a lung, they're more versatile than angelfish. So I don't know. Do you want me to pick a side?
I didn't expect a real answer, and yes, I want you to pick a side.
I do like angelfish, but I'm going to go with gouramis.
All right. Gouramis have the dots on the side of them, right? And the whisker things.
There's a bunch of different types.
Mike, do you have any idea what they're talking about right now?
I do.
Can you eat a gourami?
A gourami bear. They're delicious. A Haribo gourami bear.
A Haribo gourami bear straight from the Black Forest. That's where they come from.
It's Haribo are not Black Forest. Those are two different companies.
Oh, interesting. Who is the original maker of gummy?
No, I don't know, but Haribo is the far superior maker of the gummy.
Okay.
So I'm sure you have to go to conventions that it's like in a convention center, big warehouse, all types of stuff. Do you do that every year, or just how often do you do that?
It's yearly. There's the most prestigious conventions called MACNA Marine Aquarium Conference in North America. I spoke at the Vegas one, which was cool.
Do those things? Because I've been lately for one of my side hustles, going to some they're like people that make swimming pools and have to go do stuff that. And man, those some of the pool cleaning people, they get a little lit at the old hotel bar afterwards. But I want to know what's the scene like at a the ones I go to, it's just Florida, it's just Orlando. What's the scene like at a Vegas pool or a Vegas Reef aquarium convention after hours? After hours.
I don't know. I suppose every industry, has this. I could imagine like pool cleaner guys get kind of lit. I bet you there's a lot of meth flying around.
Yeah, they're like one step above roofers.
Yeah. No offense to pool cleaners.
No, they should be offended. They should be. They know what they do. Fucking all those ladies that are all those rich ladies.
Saltwater versus freshwater. I've got lots of legit aquarium questions. Do you look down on people with freshwater aquariums?
Absolutely not.
Can you have a nice freshwater aquarium that is superior to, say, a saltwater aquarium?
I can go ahead and answer that. Lake Superior is not saltwater. It is lake water. It's lake water.
No, I started in freshwater. There are a lot of people out there that start in saltwater, and it's like, I don't know what sort of mantle I'm trying to take, but it's just like, I kind of appreciate anything in a glass box. It doesn't have to be. Now, granted, saltwater is kind of crazier looking, or it can be, than freshwater, but I have appreciation for all of it.
I remember you telling me back in the day when you're probably loosely first getting into the business that you had to go clean or do something with tanks at Emmett Smith's house.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that Emmett Smith has like a giant mansion and that there's not a wall in that mansion that does not have a picture of Emmett Smith on it.
Now, I had to say, though, so I cleaned his aquariums like every week for 2 years, and I met him twice.
Oh,
And
wow.
he was cool as hell, though.
Yeah.
But he did have, like, he had a Coke machine with his face on it. The bottom of the swimming pool had a star with him busting out of it.
Like in a pool and swimming pool, there's an image of him on the floor of the pool.
It was a blue star with him. I actually still have a picture of it on my computer. I'll show you.
Did he mention, and I think about this all the time, probably way too much, probably more than he does. But I think about that, like years later, after he was not in the NFL, the fine people at Sprint decided, and this is like probably 2003 or 4, so he hasn't been doing it
20 years ago.
20 years ago, but still like well after he was like playing. But they go like, Sprint was like, hey, we need a new spokesman. Somebody in the room goes, Emmitt Smith. I'm like, okay, cool, but we need like a co-spokesman. Who should we get? Who, when you think would have a good repartee with Emmitt Smith? And then someone said, I know, Alf. And they paired the two together. And for some reason, Emmitt Smith was unable to say Alf's name, which is Alf, but he could only pronounce it Af. And in the commercials, he was still required to say the name Alf multiple times. And they just didn't rewrite it at all. So he's like, and so he'd be like, I'm just hanging out here with my best friend Af. Hey, Af, what do you think about collect? And Alf's like, whoa, Emmitt.
This is for like long distance calls, 1010 C20.
Yeah. Was it a collect call thing?
Yeah.
Okay, it was a collect call. It wasn't Sprint, but yeah.
Was it a rights to the name of Alf? Did anybody say Alf on the commercial?
I guess not.
Maybe it was a dodge to get around paying royalties.
They were allowed to get the puppet, but just not say the name.
He was just an alien form.
Just change the L to another F.
Mm-hmm.
Problem solves. That's how the law works, I guess. Me and my best friend Af, we both like to watch football and eat cats. Hey, hold on. Is Alf eating cats? Is that a way of getting under the censors by saying he eats pussy?
That's that 1970s innuendo you were talking about.
Exactly. That's yeah. I was hanging out with Alf eating pussy. I mean cats. Me, Emmitt Smith, and Alf. Me, Paul Lind, and Emmitt Smith and Alf were doing blow and eating pussy.
Was dead Paul Walker there? Let's bring the whole crew. Let's get them all in there.
Paul Walker came by and he said, family.
So Ben, we've got a number of since you work with Aquaria.
Was that the right way to say it?
The age of Aquaria.
I'm an Aquarian.
Really?
My cheeks hurt from laughing already.
That's awesome.
But so since you're a master of the aquatic arts, we have all.
You know what I hear? I hear fishermen are master baiters. Sell that on a shirt. You know what? Hey, Ben, you know what? For real, forever, I've been looking for a shirt that I remember you coming back like when we were probably like 13 or something. You came back from a gun show with your grandfather, and he was like, you're talking about a shirt that said Uzis, Floozies, and Jacuzzis, like a hot girl in a hot tub with guns. And I've been
I remember that.
I've been wanting to get one of those forever and ever.
I think we have a lot of shirt ideas on this show. Maybe we should just start selling shirts.
I wonder if INS had its own Uzis, Floozies, and Jacuzzis T-shirt, like who comes after you in a lawsuit for that?
Right.
Well, what if we just had our own Uzis? INS branded Uzis.
Probably the sketchy teen we inspired to do a mass shooting wearing that shirt.
Oh yeah, that could result in a lawsuit.
So Ben, since you're an aquatic expert, we've got 4 recent aquatic news stories to share with you this week. So our first story comes to us from Newsweek.
Newsweek. That's a weekly, right, Kevin?
Mm-hmm. And it's news that comes out every week, much like our program, but not without, it doesn't. They don't have quite the journalistic integrity that we do.
It's WEEK, not WEAK. So liberal, I call Newsweek, but I spell it the weak way because it's liberal. Insisting that vaccines are real. They're not real. They're just shooting you up with sugar water.
The Florida Aquarium, located in Tampa, has a surprisingly talented giant Pacific octopus named Farallon. It seems that Farallon the octopus is a painter.
Where does Farallon fall on that name list, Kevin? Can you?
Well, I would say that it's just it's just Farallon because it would be very untalented if its name was Jimmy Farallon. Fuck that guy. I just started a new. I'm starting to flame more with NBC. I should have had that spot. I was up for the fucking late night spot.
Meaning you were awake. You were,
yeah.
You couldn't fall asleep. Now you fall asleep like a charm.
Up there giggling at his own goddamn jokes.
Yeah.
So Farallon is
I'm
probably
better
named
than him.
So Farallon is probably named after the Farallon Islands, which are just off the coast of like the San Francisco Bay Area. And there's lots of wildlife out there. And I suspect many giant Pacific octopuses.
How big is giant?
Yeah, so you guys, I've expressed my disappointment on the size of giant squid on this show before. Jimmy Farallon is talented, for sure. Is he big enough? No. I feel like if you're going to be throwing out the word giant, you need to have some real girth and some real thickness. And when I'm talking about anything giant, I'm talking about just meaty, thick, girthiness, length and girth.
Medically big.
Well, I'm surprised this time 16 feet long and up to 132 pounds. I'll call that giant.
Jimmy Farallon? Okay, that's no, I don't call it giant. I call it big. It's a big octopus. It's not giant. A giant octopus can take down it could take down like whatever size the ship they're using in Jaws.
Okay.
The one that Quint's on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It could take it down
with a tugboat.
With its testicles. It could take it down.
I don't think octopus have testicles.
So could it take down Jaws?
Jaws wasn't a giant shark. He was just a big shark.
Okay.
A giant octopus should be able to kill a big shark. I mean, I would even go so far as to call Jaws a big fucking shark. But he's not a giant shark.
Okay.
What's the Megalodon? Megalodon. That's a giant shark.
Yeah.
My friend.
It is. Well, I mean, I have a question about, you said 16 feet, Kevin. Uh-huh. Is this 16 feet arm to arm? Because that would be like me raising my hand above my head and claiming that was my height. Like, that's kind of a bullshit measurement.
I don't know, and I'm not going to look into it.
And my co-host on Reef Beef would kill me because he's actually a recognized cephalopod expert, and I don't think it's called arm. He would probably have a shit fit.
Tentacle.
Cephalopod. Now that's somebody who has an enlarged head, right? So Ben, you're saying that octopus arms aren't really arms.
I don't want to misspeak because that's not my area of expertise, but I believe they're called tentacles.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah, they're tentacles. But so is it Ben? Is it octopus, octopi, octopuses, or octopods? Which
so again,
is
my co-host is really good at this. Because there's another.
Why don't we have your co-host on this show?
I know. Get rid of me. No, but there's another word, octopodes.
Octopodes.
Okay. And I believe he said the derivative.
Ben, you had a dog named Podes.
Yeah. Coach Toadies.
Coach Toadies.
Oh, that's a good dog.
The derivative to the name is Greek, so it's
okay.
Octopodes or something like that.
Octopodes. So, okay. We are corrected for this one story that's about to be over. In order for Farallon to paint underwater, the staff places dots of colored paint onto a canvas and then wraps the canvas in plastic wrap. A caretaker then holds the canvas in the water while Farallon uses her tentacles to spread out the paint under the plastic wrap. In the video they posted, Farallon completes 2 canvases this way before swimming away to do other octopus things. A biologist at the Florida Aquarium was quoted as saying, quote, "Farallon is an extremely intelligent creature. Enrichment activities are key to optimal animal welfare. As a result, The professional care team provides her with a wide variety of activities, from puzzles to painting and more.
How long are Farallon's parents going to keep paying for its existence?
For art school.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Are his octo parents as disappointed in him as mine are in me? Her.
What are you going to do with your life?
How do you tell if an octopus is a boy or a girl?
As Ben said, it's the testicles.
I said nothing.
How do you tell if an octopus is male or female? To identify their sex, apparently there's a different pattern.
Cloaca.
I bet they have cloacas. Do they have cloacas?
They have cloaces?
They lay eggs?
There was one episode where you guys were saying cloaca, and I was freaking out while listening to it.
I was not saying cloaca. I was saying cloaca.
No, that was Fozzie Bear saying cloaca waka waka. We never did get to the end of, do octopuses, are they swimming backwards?
Oh, that's a good question.
That was a squid question,
That's why
too.
we have you on,
squid
Ben.
question. So their eyeballs are here, and then their mouths here, and it seems like they're going backwards, because then they kind of like will spin around and like and munch on some tasty buds when they're at what kind of concert? A fish concert, because they get the munchies going to see fish.
So yeah, which is it, Ben?
Man, I don't know. And honestly, you guys should have Richard Ross on. I mean,
Okay.
I do know of an interesting thing that the female octopus does. Is
Here we go.
The male octopus, the male octopus puts its sperm in a package, and he basically hands it to her, and she can hold different packets and then decide which one she wants to inseminate herself with.
That's kind of what dating's like.
I do that.
You
And
know.
they can even sometimes accept it, and the male goes away, and then she'll chunk it.
It's only fans for octopus.
Is that how Kathy got a kid? In the comic?
Oh, I thought you were talking about my birth mom.
No. It was not.
I mean, it kind of. I don't know.
No, I think she married a guy, and then she was pregnant, and then the strip ended, and then the creator relaunched the strip during coronavirus, and there's no mention of the guy or the baby. I think she killed them both.
Wait, is that real? Kathy got pregnant? The comic
Yeah,
strip?
she got pregnant at the end of the strip, but she never, I think, actually gave birth.
I thought she went to a sperm bank. Did she not?
Maybe she went, but eventually she marries like her longtime boyfriend, whose name's like Melvin or something.
I'm just trying to redeem a joke I made that wasn't very funny and acting like I know about Kathy.
I was legitimately thinking about Kathy.
What were you thinking about when you were thinking about
Just
Kathy, Mike?
if she possibly had hooked up with Hagar the Horrible behind Hagar the Horrible's wife's back, how mad she was going to be.
Well, I do have real quick. I have a question.
Okay,
If I were to get hearing the story from you, if I were to get a gerbil and I were to put his feet in paint and put them on a canvas, could I claim that gerbil painted and enjoyed, and that gerbil was not a painter?
Yeah,
because I don't see any evidence that this octopus is doing anything other than grasping something that's handed to it.
Let me show you the octopus's finished art here, and you can comment on it. I've got
Is it for sale, Kevin? Can I buy this art by chance?
I think they gave it away on Instagram.
Sure, they did. I don't buy this. This is just big aquarium at it again. Did he paint that picture of an octopus?
Oh no, that's the actual octopus. Oh. And then next to the octopus,
it's not a self-portrait.
Man, octopus sure are cool. You ever have to deal with them, Ben?
No, and it's funny. Even my co-host, who's a cephalopod expert, it's just like really cephalopods should honestly just be left alone.
Yeah.
I've worked in different stores all across Texas for the better part of a decade. And that is one of the, like to kind of belittle people. But when you work in a fish store, like you get the guy coming in that's never had an aquarium in his life. And he either wants a shark or he wants a piranha or he wants an octopus.
But yeah. What else would you get in your tank?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. These are like wildly inappropriate things to actually keep if you know what you're doing. Right. It's like that none of that is realistic. It's like, man, I want an octopus. Because they can literally squeeze through anything that they can push their beak through. And they're also extremely curious. And all day long, they will, test lids and tops and holes. And they just mess with everything. And so they're a nightmare to...
Are they happy in aquariums? Or do they belong in the sea?
Yeah, I don't know the ability to gauge cephalopod happiness.
I would say that I'm equally curious with most holes, but I'm wondering if it seems like they are way too smart to keep. Like they're constantly finding out new crazy stuff about them. And then I can't remember what we talked about on here, but there's some people that think that like there's weird stuff about the way like the biology of an octopus is so weird and unlike most life on Earth that people think that like maybe they come from another planet, like, you know, millions and millions of years ago, like came on a meteorite or
a space arc,
meteor shit.
Noah's space arc
shit. Yeah, Noah's space arc.
40 days.
That would
space.
be a very good made for TV animated movie about a family that has to learn how to survive and to get along. But I'm wondering, yeah, I mean, it does seem like a thing, like a lot of animals. Like it seems like, man, that'd be fucking cool to have one, but it's not. It wouldn't be good, and it would suck for the poor octopus.
I've kept some before. As a matter of fact, I kept one of the most venomous things on the planet, which is a blue ring octopus.
Ooh, from Australia, right?
Yep, and the tank was awful ugly looking because I was afraid to put my hand in there. They're extremely venomous.
So did you send it to like an enemy, like a James Bond-esque, and then there was a James Bond-esque scene where the octopus slowly climbs out of a tank and like goes to assassinate someone for you?
No.
Can you harvest the venom for blowgun darts? Can you
just fling it on someone?
Well, you can milk a snake, right? Can you somehow?
Well, it's like they say, the best revenge is living well, but the second best revenge is mailbox snake. Man, it sure would be cool if we could communicate with an octopus. Just have a little convo. It must think completely differently. Like, what does it mean? Like, how can they can change color like that? Do they consciously know they're doing that, or is it just their body just react to that whenever they like roll up right next to like a rock and it just like their body even like the texture changes. It's such a weird alien thing.
They have cells inside their body called chromatophores, and those can adapt to colors from around them. But there's also cuttlefish. Cuttlefish who are really good at that.
Can you have them in an aquarium?
Awesome.
Cuttlefish are not long lived.
Okay.
How long do an octopus live?
I mean, it varies across the board. I think the colder water species can live a little longer just because their metabolism is so slow.
Is that most fish? And the colder the water they live in, the longer they live?
Or creatures, period, I think, because it just slows down the metabolism.
I didn't know that.
Are most cold water fish smaller? Because I have a thing when I get real cold that... ...
So our next story comes to us from the Journal of Archaeological Science Reports.
Oh, that's Indiana Jones Journal.
Yeah.
He's been published in there.
And this may be this story may actually be especially relevant to Michael.
It's a recurring column called "It Belongs in a Museum."
Mm-hmm.
Well, like Indiana Jones, this begins in 1920. In 1920, the Japanese excavation of an ancient funeral site led to a strange discovery. One skeleton was missing its right leg and left hand and had at least 790 tooth marks that cut to the bone. Recently, researchers investigating violent trauma in the skeletal remains of ancient Japanese hunter-gatherers found themselves baffled by the skeleton's deep serrated cuts and missing limbs. They could not imagine how or why these injuries were caused, either by a human or an animal.
They couldn't imagine.
They could not imagine it.
They didn't have the ability to just close their eyes and imagine something happening.
Every time they read a book, they know what the words mean, but they're just like, I can't see it. If I can't see it, it's not real.
Can't imagine it.
These people sound like assholes, is what we're getting at.
Well, they knew they were teeth marks, right?
Unimaginative
Tooth marks.
Yeah.
No, this is just another dodge at getting a shit ton of grant money and getting wasted in Japan. That's all this is.
Oh, it's all I dream of.
It was only by using the process of elimination that researchers determined that the man
out there just to get fucking anime body pillows on an Ivy League college dime.
Mm-hmm. I love that it's the process of elimination. They had to go through every other thing it could possibly be before they arrived at what I assume is the most likely source of these. Yeah,
they wanted to get soaped up and greased up by some, just like in the red light district of Shinjuku. They call it the soap bar. And you sit there and drink green tea while a young boy comes up and rubs you down and then says, thank you. Then he thanks you. That's how depraved it is. I'm glad we beat them in the war, in the Revolutionary War. I'm going to say it right now.
So they determined that the man who was buried at least 3,000 years ago is the oldest known victim of a shark attack.
Bum, bum, bum.
In fact, he predates the oldest known written reports, archaeological finds, and even the earliest illustrations of shark attacks. Scientists even created a 3D model of the skeleton that suggests the victim was alive at the time of the attack and that he may have lost his hand while trying to defend himself.
I mean, none of this is necessary. Do they know that sharks existed 3,000 years ago? And do they know that people existed 3,000 years ago?
Yeah, all types of people are getting eaten up by
I believe this is correct, but sharks existed before trees did.
See, Kevin?
Thank you, Ben.
Okay. How many documented shark attacks on trees are there?
7. Guardians of the Galaxy number 12. Groot gets attacked by a shark.
By Jabberjaw.
Guardians of the Galaxy crossover with Suicide Squad. King Shark attacks Groot.
And dead Paul Walker.
And dead Paul Walker saves them both. That's a what if comic.
And a hot Lamborghini, he just drives by and
he just smashes into that shark and goes, family. And then Vin Diesel walks up and goes like, it's time for sushi.
I suspect your Vin Diesel is very close to your Sylvester Stallone. I'm not sure.
Let's hear Sylvester Stallone say it.
It's time for sushi. And then Vin Diesel goes, it's time for sushi. It's subtle. Yes, it's in the same ballpark, but let's I mean, it's not. It's subtle differences, you know.
Mm-hmm. Just different degrees of the same speech impediment.
Yeah, I mean, they both have CT problems. You know, they've both been punched a little too hard on set.
I don't think they really get hit. I don't think that's part of being. I don't think that's movie magic.
Dolph Lundgren hit Sylvester Stallone so hard in Rocky IV that he put him in the hospital.
And then and then Grace Jones fucked Dolph Lundgren so hard she put him in the hospital. They were a couple. Did you know that?
Yep.
Hollywood gossip coming right. I'm a gossip hound. I'm officially starting up the INS gossip column. So get ready for the rest of the episode. I'll be dropping some spicy goss. It's tea time. Time for some hot goss. Grace Jones was so ravenous in bed that one time she broke the jaw of Dolph Lundgren, and that's quite a jaw to break.
Just tell us about everyone who died fucking.
Paul Walker, right? That Paul Walker?
David Carradine, when not practicing kung fu, was practicing kung fu on himself. And that's how he died.
So, ultimately, they found, quote, it is likely that at least his larger lower limb arteries...
Did you say these were Oxford-trained scientists?
Oh, God damn it. Ultimately, they found, quote, it is likely that at least his larger lower limb arteries would have been severed early in the attack. This would have resulted in a relatively quick death from hypovolemic shock, unquote.
That was accurate enough.
Why does he sound exactly like the Australian who fought an octopus?
Oh, golly.
Is the shark okay? I mean, nobody's talking about the shark.
I mean, I think it's pretty full at this point. Like, you know, it had a good meal.
How long can sharks live?
Yeah, there's the what is that? A Greenland shark, I think, or something like that. Several hundred years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, with the cold water.
Generally 20 to 30 years,
I
but
I need to move north.
Greenland sharks, at least 400.
Wow.
So here's a question, and
Okay.
Ben, if you can answer this, is it really that unusual to find a skeleton with bite marks on it?
I'm no archaeologist, but I imagine since man has been going into the water in tropical places, people have been getting attacked occasionally by a shark.
Now, shark do have serrated teeth, right?
Yes.
Do all fish that have teeth, are they always serrated?
I don't believe that's true.
They got those one fish that have the human-looking teeth.
Yeah, they got like big buck teeth. You ever see the Incredible Mr. Limpet? Don Knotts?
Good one.
He had glasses. He actually wore glasses.
There's several fish that have pretty big teeth, different types of puffers, different types of parrotfish, different wrasses. Yeah, I used to work at the Houston Zoo for 2 years. I was a zookeeper, and I was in charge of a 12,000 gallon flooded Amazon exhibit, and they had the pacu. They would get like 2 to 3 feet across, and we would cut vegetables, throw it in there, and you could hear them crunching it through 4-inch acrylic.
Oh, wow.
So what happened when you threw like some kid that got lost in there?
It was tempting.
Do fish ever outgrow exhibits like that?
I mean, it was, especially at an institution like a zoo. I mean, you know what you're housing in an exhibit,
Right.
so you plan for it like that. But that old kind of, there's the old rule of thumb, like, oh, don't worry, that fish will grow to the size of the tank, which can be abused pretty badly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm working in stores and people come in and say, oh, get a bigger tank later, and I would kind of admonish them to get a bigger tank now, because I would always use an analogy like you could keep a Great Dane in a closet, but that doesn't make it right.
Right.
I remember a friend told me that a customer would come in. I believe they're not remora, but the sucker fish that sit on the side, they just eat the
Plecostomus.
And a woman came in, she was like, I want to get one of those. What are they called? Asshole eaters?
Working in stores, you get people, because no one can say Plecostomus, but people would always call them algae eaters. And
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of clients or people come into a store and they would say allergy eaters.
Allergy eaters. I mean, it's an easy flow to asshole eaters.
I don't know. That just makes me think you're doing something with that fish that's probably
It's a
not gonna
millennial.
like.
That fish is a millennial. They're all eating ass these days.
Well, that does make me think. I can't remember the name of them, but it was popular in Asian countries where they would have that tank where you could put your feet in the water.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Oh, yeah.
fish. They tried to bring that in the United States, and whoever it was, FDA or whoever, was like, no.
I guess there's like fish get weird diseases, right?
Well, I think it's like the watery, unclean environment, and just passing skin diseases from one person to the next.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody gets trench foot.
Legionnaire's disease.
I remember there was a fish disease that you told me about, and it was the most just description of the disease, and it was called hole in the head disease.
Oh.
And the fish gets a hole in its head and then dies.
What?
Yeah, I don't remember if it's a parasite or whatever, but it drills through like the slime coating and drills into the head. It's kind of hard. It's tricky to get rid of with medications. It's typically a lot of freshwater fish like Oscars and stuff like that.
Oscars. People put Oscars in. Do Oscars need big tanks?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty basic freshwater. But for working in stores, you kind of grow to hate some fish because you see them so much. They're so ubiquitous. You get bored of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oscars are one of those. But I do have to admit, though, if you step back from that, they do have a lot of personality. But I mean, you'd want to put one in at least a 55 or a 75 gallon just because they get so big. And they get big fast. So people buy them for a little tank and like, man, I can't believe you outgrew it. And it's like, no.
Are they good? Are they good eating?
I never ate one. I could never bring myself to eat an aquarium fish. I don't know.
Could you eat an Oscar? I guess if you wanted to.
I suppose you could. I don't know if it would be like good or bad.
You could eat anything if you wanted to. I mean, that doesn't make it a good choice.
Some people eat ass.
I think people eat Plecostomus.
I believe so, but they're real bony and whatnot. But I believe I've heard that in South America that they do eat that. Yeah, and like Michael said, people eat ass. So
cool people, giving lovers.
So you don't like mollies or?
No, mollies can be cool. I mean,
but you like grommies. Grommies are like, that is my ultimate fish that I think you could find at any place. If a place even sold one type of fish, I would assume it's a grommy.
I have some over there, some honey dwarf gouramis in a tank right in the next room.
Do you breed fish?
I used to a long time ago, but I would say, even though I have a love for freshwater, my main thing is probably saltwater, and that's notoriously difficult to breed. I leave that for other people.
Yeah.
So when like those saltwater fish, are they breeding them in tanks somewhere, like far away? Or are they like just scooping them out of the ocean, or?
They do some of it stateside, and some of it they do in the Indo-Pacific. I have friends that own companies like Biota that, breed these in like, I can't remember if they're in Palau or where they're at.
Are they like labs, or is it like, I mean, does that have to be crazy controlled?
No, I mean, as a matter of fact, I've never been to and seen one of these facilities, but I've seen pictures of them. And I mean, we're talking about like bathtubs basically on a tropical island. So, I mean, they'd be like real Spartan facilities. You don't need much in the way of that, but
like set the music to get them all horned up.
Barry White. Yeah.
Is there a big illegal fish trade? Like, is there fish smuggling the way other animals get smuggled?
I remember you telling me about like illegal reptile shit back in the day.
And there's definitely a lot of illegal fish stuff too. As a matter of fact, when I first moved to Houston in 2000, the place I worked at, the guy had not too long from then just got popped for, I think the fine was like $100,000. He had a lot of crazy stuff like red dragon arowanas and arapimas and snakeheads and.
Arowanas are those big, like eel-looking fish, right? They're like long.
Yeah, they kind of have like a jaw. I used to have one when we were young. Yeah, one I would put like a slice of beef heart on the top, and they'd pull it off.
Oh, damn,
that's awesome!
And it would like, if you like it, like something weird with it, like if I'm remembering correctly. It would like if you left the light on not long enough or too much, it would like haul ass back and forth and like fuck up the tank. Like it would just get mad and like. Didn't you have a fish that
when
did that?
You put the lights on a timer and it would click on or off, it would just startle the shit out of them.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of crazy technology in our industry nowadays. There's LED lights that slowly fade on and off and stuff like that.
Now, are those fish illegal to have because they're endangered or because they're dangerous that they could get released in the water here?
Not that regular arowana, but there's like a very coveted one that's like bright red, and people pay like, geez, I don't even know. People pay like $20,000, $30,000, $50,000.
God damn,
for these freshwater fish. And I can't remember why that those red Asiatic arowanas are illegal here if the normal ones are not. I don't remember. I do know like snakehead is a popular one that because they can come out of water and travel for a little distance, and I've been around kids before. I mean, they're all illegal, the ones that you find. And it's also, this is funny. When I worked at the Houston Zoo, I also used to care for a 1,200 gallon full of piranhas. And you think, everyone thinks that piranhas are like scary to be around, but they're not. And this sounds stupid, but as long as you're not bleeding, if they're hungry and you're bleeding and you put your hand in there, then yes, you're in trouble. But I literally used to stick my hand in the water and they would all fly to the other side of the aquarium. Like singularly, it's not a brave fish.
So did you ever stick your bloody hand in there to see what would happen?
And they're hungry, then you probably wouldn't pull anything back.
just be bones. Perfect white, bleached white hand bones.
Mm-hmm.
Did
you throw meat in there? Have you got to see them swarm before?
We used to do that for the entertainment of people. You would use a wire clothes hanger and get raw chicken and wrap it around that. And you'd put it in there. And people would freak out, watch them.
What's the reality of people, like human beings, actually getting fucked up by piranha? Has that happened? I mean, I know you just said like they're kind of scared and you'd have to be bleeding, but is that something that occasionally happens in the Amazon? Some poor sucker falls in there.
Here's another anecdotal thing that I have always heard is the native peoples in South America are not generally not afraid of piranha. They're actually afraid of stingrays.
Oh, that's
why is that?
It's just more common to get hit by a stingray than to get hurt by it's. I believe it's pretty uncommon to get destroyed by piranha.
And what about the kandairu? Do you have any of those? The fish that swims up your pee string.
Yeah, is that a real thing?
Cream and then lodges itself in your dick. How many of those do you have?
Well, currently I have one lodged in my penis.
Yeah, that's right.
I leave them in there.
You breathe them in your penis. Some people use bathtubs. I just let them go.
It's like in Alien when the little mouth comes out of the bigger mouth.
Like penile incubator.
Yeah. Is that real? Are those real? I thought those were a myth.
I believe so. I believe it is real. I think it has like barbells that it gets in your urethra.
And then it apparently dies in there. So Ben's are dead.
I've got dead fish in my penis. That's always a great pickup line.
Hey, you ladies ever see a penis with a dead fish in it? Come on.
Tell my mom got my dad.
Oh, Mike. Sometimes I can tell you don't feel good about something before you even start to say it.
Yeah, sometimes I'll start saying it and go like, am I going to get in trouble for this? Like, not like in trouble, but like in like a karmic way. And then I'm halfway through saying it, and towards the end, I'm like, I probably am. I don't even really believe in any kind of thing like that, but there's probably some retribution cosmically.
You can't get grounded anymore, Mike.
Yeah.
When Mark cuts something out of the episode, it doesn't count.
Oh, he saves all that.
He's saving it for some blackmail later on. Well, our next story comes to us from Live Science.
Is it? Yeah, it's Live Science. That's the
Live Science.
Well, we all live science.
Just living is science.
Yeah. Or at least Fauci wants us to. He makes me mad.
Never let that go. I hope in 2 decades I'm still hearing people make snide comments about Fauci.
Fauci. So the title of this story is, Will Humans Ever Learn to Speak Whale?
These fucking guys.
As we've discussed previously, sperm whales live in highly organized...
They call them what? What kind of what? Wait, hold on. What?
Oh, this is Live Science. You guys need to grow up.
Sperm whales live in highly organized social clans and communicate through a series of clicks that can be heard from hundreds of miles away. These series of clicks, known as codas, can be as brief as 10 seconds or last over half an hour. Their complexity suggests to some scientists that whale codas might be sophisticated enough to qualify as a full-fledged language.
Here we go again. Here comes the great fleecing through grant funding.
Yep.
It's a full-fledged language. Judy Collins already put this to the test. She released a wonderful album called Whale Songs.
Yep.
And I think we can put it to rest after that.
Did you know Klingon is a recognized language in some colleges where my son apparently wants to go to school and be a professional DJ. This is that kind of shit, isn't it? Well, I'm not paying for it.
Is this chicken nuggets?
I'm not paying for it.
I don't think we've heard about your son in a while.
I thought he had 2 sons.
I mean, honestly, I have not been keeping track of them.
That's right. Yeah, they're a handful. They're a real handful.
No, there's a camp they go to in the summer. It's a Christian camp that they go to, and it's a conversion camp. They're trying to pray the dork out of them. They're just so goddamn nerdy. They just want to sit around and play Fortnite all day. And at this camp, they're not going to let them. They're going to make them. There is no indoor plumbing at this camp, and they are going to be making tennis shoes. And I think that it's a valuable skill.
Is this somehow connected with your friends in the Chinese government? Is this?
They're not my friends, but I think that it's clear that that over there they do not have such a hang up about making a man be a man. You know,
they operate camps, and I know you're a fan of that.
Wait a minute. So your sons are Uyghurs?
No. I sent my sons to a camp where they're going to learn the value of hard labor and possibly learn a new language. Maybe they'll pick up something over there, something other than sitting around on my couch playing Fortnite all day. My ex-wife wanted me to just take care of this the entire summer. I'm like, no. These kids are going to have to do something other than, watch my TV and play video games on my TV. That's for me to play video games on. So I sent them somewhere where they can get a valuable education and maybe make me some kicks. I'm a sneakerhead. You guys know this.
We just heard that's a kind of fish, a sneakerhead.
That was a disease that they can get.
Yeah.
And Nike starts growing out of their fins. They start their fins start being replaced with Nikes. Or if they're really sick,
the dreaded Kappa disease.
Yeah. K-Swiss, kill slobs when I see slobs. That's what K-Swiss stands for, you know?
No, I think we got
what?
it.
Kill slob.
That is enough.
Your wife is angry about K-Swiss?
Children in factories. I don't care if you're doing a weird accent.
I'm not doing
Just stop it all right now.
All right.
He was also talking about Uyghurs.
I wasn't talking about Uyghurs.
What?
Uyghurs.
The fuck is that?
Go.
Try Google.
Well, it's hard to spell Uyghur.
Uwigher.
That's not even a fucking word.
Hey, the dog is getting the chips.
What?
Burleson, the two of you need to go.
You named your dog after a Texas town?
Also a street. Hey, Burleson.
Big Burleson.
Please.
Come here, Rowlett.
Please be gone from my face.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah. I'm going to get a dog and name it Watauga.
Hey, Throckmorton.
Yeah, get Throckmorton over here.
Tioga.
Please take this dog.
Honey, get Ponder.
That's right.
What is
Crumbs.
Argyle doing eating my chips?
That's right.
God damn it, New Colony.
There she is.
That's a good looking dog.
Yeah. He's a happy dog.
Mm-hmm.
I love you less. I love you. I'm just kidding. I love you more. I just sound big in front of my friends. I just sound like a man in front of my friends.
I get it.
Love you too.
All of that is staying in. That too.
So who is that, Mike?
Oh, God. I don't know. Some trick.
That's okay. My wife just opened the door and just shook her head at me.
Oh, really?
Honestly, I don't even know who that was.
Mm-hmm.
The raccoon let her in.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the raccoon.
Yeah,
The
it's
raccoon
the-
mother.
When a raccoon got in the other day. Did I tell you all this? The raccoon got in the other day, and I heard her shout, "It's a raccoon!" in the room.
And then she banged Dolph Lundgren's jaw off.
Broke it.
All right.
Ciao.
Scientists only discovered sperm whales made codas in the 1950s, and in the 1970s, they realized that whales used codas to communicate. Now, they're working with MIT to use deep learning AI to analyze an unprecedented number of sperm whale codas in order to try to translate whale to human.
It sounds like that people are figuring out more about the way whales talk as long as drugs get more and more powerful and interesting over time. It's like the 50s, like, oh, that'd be weird. What if they were there? And then 1970s, now we've got Quaaludes. Now LSD is easy to find. Like, oh man, they're fucking speaking to me. Now we're on Molly. We're down there in a tank, buck naked, swimming around with these majestic beasts, just riding up to them. And it's like, talk to me, baby. Talk to me. talk to me, swallow me up, swallow me. And it's just like an erotic journey when you're on, when you're on some Special K, and you just want to just feel alongside that, just rub a dub. And
sometimes what are you rubbing on the whale?
We take them along and we have a little fun with them. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no!
Isn't Special K a breakfast cereal?
If you do it right, it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Of champions.
Special K, I believe, is ketamine.
Yes.
Ketamine.
And it is originally used to feel good. That was why it was created. No, wasn't it? It's like
it's an animal tranquilizer, I believe. It's a disassociative. They use it on small children too.
Yeah, cool kids.
They use that in Iraq and Afghanistan, like when they pick up combat wounded. That's one of the first things they do is give you ketamine.
Really?
And I guess maybe it doesn't. You're not going to for the combat people. Combat, I would guess, like you don't want them to go completely under because maybe there's, I don't know, something you need to keep them awake for. If
I think it's too for the trauma too, because they say like when you take ketamine, it like you said, a dissociative, like so you don't remember some of the trauma from that event.
I could use some every day. Living with that fucking bullshit that you just heard. You heard that.
Mark, keep that in?
No, keep it in for sure. I have to live with that.
Oh, yes.
I should be prescribed ketamine.
Just a constant drip.
Just a drip. You know what? And I don't even care. Put it in my arm vein. Put it in my dingus vein. I don't care. Just give me some of that sweet relief
vein?
To just take a little break from the fucking constant hell.
In order to collect enough samples, they've enlisted an army of drones to look for whale pods, and then the drones will drop underwater microphones whenever they see whales nearby. The problem of translating whale is compounded by the fact that each whale pod appears to have its own dialect, and there may be many different whale languages across whale populations. So scientists have collected about 100,000 sperm whale codas, but believe they will need 4 billion codas before they are able to translate sperm whale.
It'd be funny if you said 1,000 sperm whale condoms. Hey, Ben, do whales use condoms?
All the time. The sea floor is littered with them. Those and the microphones that they drop.
Yeah, did the whales drop the microphones like they're Chris Rock at the end of Bringing the Pain? Whirl, fuck y'all! It goes real slow. It's just dramatic when you drop a mic in underwater.
Right.
Falls for 2 hours.
Yeah.
They don't know any better though. They're still impressed by it.
Yeah, but when it hits the bottom and you hear that, it's worth it.
Not when it contacts whale condoms.
Yeah, they soften the blow. If you're a whale and you ejaculate into a condom and you take it off and then you put it inside out, is the condom like re-clean? Can you just reuse it?
I mean,
chumming the water.
Well,
this episode is filthy, I will say.
This is
so
I don't understand how this keeps degenerating into this level of discourse. We really set out for a serious discussion on the events most affecting
aquatic life.
Well, now these aren't fish.
Yeah,
mammalian.
These are
cetaceans. Whales are cetaceans.
Are there any aquatic mammals that you would have typically in a nice tank?
No. Man, when I worked at the zoo, an otter would surprise you. Have any of y'all ever been around a sea otter?
No.
They are freaking scary. Seriously, they're like river pit bulls.
Really?
Are they mean?
They can be. The ones that I were around. I mean, you don't get to be around them just like right next to them, but through a cage.
Oh, they tell you to stay, so you got to stay away from them.
You just walk up to them. They're trying to eat like the metal off of the fence.
Jeez.
And their heads are wider and more muscular than you think they are. And when you're standing right next to one, it's like, yeah, that thing would murder me.
Yeah, people always want to make them out to be real cute, but
they're like ocean puppies that murder.
Yeah. Murder puppies.
Just killing machines.
Murderous ocean puppies.
Has anybody ever been killed? Have people been killed by otters?
27.
27 people have been killed by otters. You heard it here. Thank you so much, Ben, for that bit of information.
That's 2 more people than that have been killed by lavender face
In 25.
in 2025.
Is that the plot where Lavender Face is competing against the kill total?
Yeah, that's the plot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 Girls. That's the name of the movie. And yeah, it's about how the Lavender Face's family sets up their weird cannibal area next to an otter sanctuary, and then they have the cutest kill contest you can ever imagine.
A friendly competition.
Yeah, it's like a friendly competition.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, they're all friends and they hang out together and drink white wine.
White Claw.
They drink White Claws and white wine.
So, okay. They need 4 billion codas before they're able to translate sperm whale if it is an actual language. It is hoped the translated samples will say more than, quote, "I was just calling about your car's extended warranty."
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got to be talking, right? What else would it be?
Yeah, but they just don't know if it's a language or if they're...
Are birds talking?
Well, they're communicating. Maybe they're not like having discussions, but they're announcing, "Hey, I'm horny," or "Hey, there's danger nearby," or whatever.
Where the fuck are my keys?
Where the fuck are my keys?
So let's wrap up our last story. So our last story comes to us from Channel 63 CBS in Detroit.
CBS is 63 in Detroit?
Yeah, that seems weird to me too.
Yeah. I thought 11 was the highest it ever went.
Recently, a tour boat captain in Sheboygan, Michigan, was scuba diving in the Sheboygan River to clean the windows on her glass-bottom boat when she noticed a small green bottle about 10 feet underwater. When she picked it up, she realized there was a piece of paper with writing inside it. She said, quote, "It was kind of like, holy smokes, we've got a message in a bottle here. Cool."
Yeah, no one from Michigan sounds like, if they're saying holy smokes, they don't sound.
Michiganders sound like,
Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent's from Michigan.
Stranglehold.
Cat scratch fever.
That's staying in for sure. I like that.
She said the bottle was about 2/3 filled with water, but she was able to fish out the note and read the message. It was dated November 1926 and read, quote, "Will the person who finds this bottle return this paper to George Morrow, Sheboygan, Michigan, and tell where it was found," unquote. Hoping to track down George Morrow's relatives, the captain posted a picture of the note on her company's Facebook page, and then she went to bed. She woke up to find the post had been shared more than 100,000 times and had over 6,000 comments. Fortunately, the captain didn't have to read through all 6,000 comments that Brian doesn't believe, because George Morrow's daughter, Michelle Primo, called her on the phone. Ms. Primo said the note was written when her dad was 17 or 18 and offered to let the captain keep the note. The captain plans to put the note on display in her gift shop, and Michelle Primo said she'll send a picture of her father to display next to it.
Oh, Primo. Fucking Primo. This note is Primo. Here's what's wrong with that. Nobody's name is Primo unless they live in Southern California and own a fucking surf shop where they fucking secretly sell weed out of. Second of all, a woman captain, give me a break. Am I right, Brian?
I don't think you're right, Mike. I think this isn't a true story, right? This is somebody who's trying to drum up business for their failing.
I tell you what, there was probably a really great kinky sex scene that wanted to see people they scuba dive under the glass bottom boat and watch people shit on the glass bottom while they're underwater. Something dried up. Someone probably got fucking eaten up in the rudder, and they're just trying to get any kind of business now that they have to do a legit glass bottom boat type situation, Sheboygan. Right. Because there's nothing cool to look on a glass bottom boat in Sheboygan.
Apparently, she takes the boat into Lake Huron and then goes on a tour.
Lake Huron, there's some cool shit there.
And then goes on a tour of shipwrecks.
Now, is that a saltwater or freshwater lake?
It's a freshwater lake. Okay. It's one of the Great Lakes. But she goes on a tour of shipwrecks.
Oh God. What do those look like? Oh, they're fucking glass bottom boats where somebody just got too horny while they were watching someone shit on the glass bottom.
German tourists.
Yeah. Sheboygan is definitely a German name.
What?
I don't think that's right.
You've heard a German guy go, Sheboygan! Sheboygan is like Schadenfreude is taking pleasure in someone else's pain. Sheboygan is taking pleasure in someone else's shit. While underwater.
Are you underwater or are they underwater?
Oftentimes, this is a more complicated kink. You get in scuba gear and you're underwater and you're floating in there. It's just you and a scuba tank and flippers on and then nothing else. And you're under the glass bottom looking straight up and somebody's sitting there on the glass bottom above you. Or sometimes you're sitting in the glass bottom looking down and somebody swims up and presses their butt cheeks.
And chums the water.
It chums the water.
Hey, remember 2 weeks ago when we had our dirtiest episode ever, and it was like, oh, it'll never get like that again.
Enter Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
It brought out the truth. I honestly say I think we had our most real episodes.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they don't want you to hear on the network news channels.
You won't hear this on the daily podcast from the New York Times.
Mm-mm.
Come for the aquarium experts, stay for the Sheboyganing.
Hey, Ben, before we wrap up here, how can people find you?
They just look around. What do you think?
Is that a threat?
Wherever there is a dirty aquarium, I'll be near.
Oh, you threatening me? Well, look for the Reef Beef podcast on iTunes or on YouTube too. Reef Beef.
And if they
there.
wanted your aquarial services, how would they go about that?
Oh, well, you better live in Houston, Texas, or if you live somewhere else and you're just filthy rich, just fly me in.
All right.
But the name of my company in Houston, Texas is Captive Aquatic Ecosystems.
All right.
CAE. And just my website's caecosystems.com.
Nice. And Mike, we got this. You got anything coming up?
As always, you can get the new Riverboat Gamblers single. Just go to our Bandcamp page, or I've got the Riverboat Gamblers are performing August 14th in Austin, Texas, at the Lost Well with the famous punk rock legends, the Zero Boys, and then a week later, the 21st, the Draculas are performing at the Lost Well for some sort of a mini festival. And the first Thursday of every month, you can catch a comedy show that I do called Excelsior at the Buzz Mill. It's just called Buzz Mill. I shouldn't have put the D in front of it. I feel bad now. Probably gave them more pomp than they want or need, but it's a lovely show. It's a lovely show.
You've done a couple of those now, right?
We just did the first Excelsior recently, and it was quite the laugh riot.
Nice.
How does it compare to a typical night at Zany's?
The thing is at Zany's is we have all our chicken wings are vegan, and all our nuts are salted. Actually, no. I have to legally declare that no one is assaulting anyone. Because that's a thing in comedy right now, unfortunately.
So I think that wraps up another week at the International News Service. Feel free to find us on social media at International News Pod. Check out our Redbubble at INS Pod. Or if you want a sticker, you can go to Patreon at International News Pod and subscribe for just $1. And Michael will send you a sticker that he has personally touched.
I'm sending one to Ireland this week.
That's true.
To Finnegan.
And you know what? You can probably also get a sticker if you just send us a really cool story and ask super nice. That might work too.
And your address involves Buttercup Farm.
Right. It's the balloon thing, man. If you find our balloon from far enough away, maybe I shouldn't be making fun of.
Yeah, I would love to get 70,000 people on a Facebook page. Half of them telling me that vaccines aren't real.
Fauci!
Fauci, I'm so mad at you. If you're mad at Dr. Fauci, then we're the podcast for you.
That's right.
If you're sick of him telling you what to do and doing it anyway, but you're mad about it, we're the podcast for you.
See you next week, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.